How you doing, Mr. DJ? Tonight on the 70s YouTube channel, got great. I can't describe this. This is, this is a fantastic eclectic piece of music on Billboard's Hot 100. The date, let's go to it right now. I can't wait to get into this, and I'm gonna be all over the road on this record, so just bear with me. My notes are all over the place on this record. Let's go to Billboard's Hot 100. It was spring of '74. April 27th, 1974. And let's go, I'll give you the top 5 hits from that week. Oh My My by Ringo Starr, the jaunty pop record by former Beatle at number 5. I love that one. The Locomotion by Grand Funk by number 4. Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me by Glass Knight and the Pips at number 3. Benny and the Jets by Elton John, number 2. And TSOP, The Sound of Philadelphia, Gamble and Huff. MFSB featuring the 3 Degrees at number 1 on Billboard's Hot 100, April 27th, 1974. But we're going to go into the Lost 45s. This was not a commercial single. It was just too eclectic. But it doesn't matter. It's just one of the most brilliant things that ever came out. Let's go to it right now. If I could find it. I lost my place. Here it is at number 59, up from 69 on Billboard's Hot 100. April 20, what was the date again? April 27th? Oh gosh, April 27th. Getting too excited, man. I'm really pumped up big time. At number 59 that week, Chameleon by Herbie Hancock, the jazz great Herbie Hancock. To the pop audience, he's probably best known for Rocket, which came out in 1983, 1984. Great, it was just funk dance right there. But he's really best known as being a jazz musician. Here's the thing about Herbie Hancock, though. He started out in classical music when he was 12 years old. It was at a concert, a young people's concert. He was 12 years old. He played the first movement of Mozart's Piano Concerto, number 26 in D major K, 537 coordination. Whew, boy, that's a mouthful right there, but he played it. Influenced by a vocal group called the High Lows. They were kind of popular in the 50s and early 60s. They were known for their wide-ranging vocals, which influenced Herbie Hancock in terms of his harmonics, as far as the music was concerned. 1963, Miles Davis, another legend, sought out Herbie Hancock. He saw Herbie Hancock as a promising young jazz artist. As a matter of fact, just a year before, in 1962, Herbie Hancock released his first album. It was called Taking Off the Blue Note, the jazz record label, Blue Note. If you know jazz, boy, I know you've heard of Blue Note, the Blue Note record label. 62. Well, then, Miles Davis sought out Herbie Hancock. How would you like to join my band? The band was called, it was the second great quartet. Miles Davis, Second Great Quartet, or just Miles Davis Quartet. Well, either way, Herbie Hancock, he put together the rhythm section of that group. He found his voice as a piano player, and he is considered the primary architect of the post-bop sound, Herbie Hancock. Let's jump ahead to 1974, because I want to go into this album that he put out. I wrote down the name of the album, and would you believe Headhunters. Headhunters in 1973. It was his 12th, might have been his 11th studio album, 1973, and that Chameleon came off the album. The original version of Chameleon was 15 minutes. They did pare it down to, they have to pare it down when they release it as a 45. And I listened to both the 9-minute version and a live 5-minute version on YouTube. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. Talk about the movement of this jazz standard. Well, he wrote this song. Herbie Hancock came up with this record with Bernie Maupin, M-A-U-P-I-N, Benny Maupin, saxophone, flute, clarinet player. There was Paul Jackson, who, when he was Paul Jackson of Oakland, California, another jazz great. When he was 14 years old, he performed with the Oakland Symphony Orchestra. Man, these guys were geniuses. They could play. There was Harvey Mason, a jazz drummer. He worked with jazz fusion artists such as Chick Corea and Lee Ritenour, and they all wrote this record. Now here's the thing, I love getting into the instruments without getting into the technical details, because I get lost in the technical details. The funk rhythm of this record, the funk, and one keyboard solo in this record, Herbie Hancock played. He used an instrument called the ARP Odyssey. This was an analog synthesizer that was developed in 1972. It was sort of a response. You remember the Moog? I think it's how you pronounce it, the Moog or the Moog, M-O-O-G. That was so popular. The Moog synthesizer so popular in the early 70s. Hot butter popcorn, that was off the Moog, I think. And the ARP, the ARP was pared down to a 6,000. It was pared down to 2600 synthesizer, and then it became the Odyssey. The Odyssey was the most popular of the ARP synthesizer in the early 70s. I hope you got that, because I just barely got that. But gosh, dog it. Something else. Now, I got to tell you about this record. If you're into improvisation, and jazz people are into improvisation big time, and I can see why jazz people will look down on rock and roll, because a lot of it's three chords, and it's you come into a recording studio and you got to record a pop record that's 3 or 4 minutes. That doesn't leave a whole lot of room for improvisation, for experimentation, for an artist to really go to town, instrumentally speaking. Of course, in jazz you can do that. And Herbie Hancock, he starts out with this funk, man. He goes in this funk. It's just a funky piece. And then later on, it smooths out into this beautiful, this atmospheric, almost ethereal, laid back, beautiful jazz piece. Even though it was not commercial enough to be a top 10, it's almost as if you were tired of just listening to the same top 40 songs. You got your 45s at home, you're listening to all of top 40 singles, and you're saying, well, I'm tired of listening to this Kool and the Gang record. I'm tired of listening to this John Denver record. They're great, but I want to listen to something else. Let me pull out this Herbie Hancock and just get into it for a little while as a break. A little bit of an eclectic pick in your album collection. Herbie Hancock at number 59, but get this, it almost made top 40. It peaked at number 42 on Billboard's Hot 100. It was on Billboard's Hot 100 for 11 weeks. Winter, spring of 1974. Chameleon by Herbie Hancock.